Okay, if you're into RC, you know the feeling.
Right.
You're finally working on that vintage Tamiya, or maybe it's a last-minute fix before a race, and then, bam, that wave of frustration. Where is that tiny hex driver? Or that E-clip that just vanished? It's pure chaos. Totally kills your focus. We've definitely all been there. So our mission in this deep dive is, well, to tackle that exact chaos, we're looking at the 5S blueprint. It's a system, actually pretty straightforward, from the Toyota production system, super efficient stuff. And this isn't just about tidying. It's about fundamentally changing your workspace from, like, frustrating clutter to real clarity.
Exactly. And what's interesting is how 5S, coming from lean manufacturing, helps you cut out waste. And in the hobby, waste means, time hunting for parts or awkward movements reaching for things. But especially for those of you with older vintage kits or the re-releases, 5S is huge. It becomes a system for preservation, really making sure those rare, sometimes irreplaceable parts are organized and safe.
Okay, so let's break down these 5S words. How do they actually help someone wrestle that workbench back under control?
Yeah.
First up is Seiri. Sort. This is basically radical decluttering. You have to be, well, brutally honest. What do you really need? What's just taking up space? You ask, is this essential? And if you're not sure, there's the red tag method. You tag it, stick it in a holding area. If it's still gathering dust there months later, probably doesn't need to be on your main bench.
Right. Once you've done that tough sorting job, you move to Seirin. Set in order. This is all about smart placement. Ergonomics. The idea is a place for everything and everything in its place. Simple, but powerful. Think about reaching for your most used tool without even looking. That's Seirin. Frequent items. Closest to hand. And this is where things like Kaizen foam inserts are brilliant. You cut out the shape of the tool, pull it out, and its perfect shadow stays behind.
The shadow board effect. So you see instantly if something's missing. No more searching, just a glance.
Exactly. Visual management.
Okay, so things are sorted, they're in their place. You might think, great, done. But then comes Seiso, shine. And this isn't just about making it look nice, although that's good too. It's cleaning as inspection. When your bench is cleaned, tiny things jump out, like a small oil leak, maybe a frayed wire. You catch these little things before they become big headaches. Proactive maintenance, really.
But keeping it that way, that requires Seiketsu. Standardize. This step is about making rules for yourself. Consistency. So maybe documenting best practices, using clear labels everywhere, or even just simple checklists like for end-of-day cleanup. It locks in the good habits.
Makes sense. And the last one, which I hear is often the toughest, Shitsuke. Sustain. This is all about discipline, isn't it? Making it stick long-term. It takes ongoing effort, checking in on yourself, maybe occasional audits, just to stop things sliding back into chaos. It's about making 5S a real habit.
Absolutely. And, many people now add a 6th S, safety, which for an RC workbench is just essential, non-negotiable, really. We're dealing with stuff like lipos batteries, fire risk there, glues, paints, fumes, sharp tools. A well-organized space is just inherently safer. It removes hazards.
Yeah, definitely critical with RC stuff. So let's tie this all together for you, the hobbyist. What's the real payoff? By cutting out those wastes, the searching, the fumbling, you protect your focus, your flow state, right? All your mental energy goes into the build, the tuning, the problem solving, not fighting your workspace, which means better quality work, better results, and honestly, just more enjoyment.
And we can get really specific with RC applications. Take small hardware, for instance. All those tiny screws and nuts. We strongly recommend a dual labeling system. So label each bin or drawer twice. First, with the part specification like M3 by 10 millimeter step screw, and second with the model and application maybe Tamiya Avante, front upright. This stops you grabbing the wrong, potentially irreplaceable vintage part. Huge for accuracy.
That's a great tip, especially for vintage collectors.
And then there's battery storage. This is critical. For LiPo batteries, you absolutely must store them at storage voltage. That's around 3.8 to 3.85 volts per cell. Not full, not empty. That's their most stable state. And always in a fire-resistant container. A proper LiPo bag or box for disposal. Fully discharge them safely, down to 0 volts, then take them to a proper recycling place. Never, ever household trash.
Right. And what about the older night seats?
Good point. Knifus batteries, the older ones, have that memory effect. If you don't fully discharge them before recharging, they kind of forget their full capacity.
That's right.
Runtime drops, and the cadmium is toxic. So again, never in the regular trash. They need proper hazardous waste disposal. Look for local collection sites or programs like Call to Recycle.
Wow. Okay. So implementing 5S really does transform the bench into this like high-performance system. It's way more than just being neat.
It really is. And that connects perfectly to the idea of Kaizen, continuous improvement. A 5S workspace isn't something you set up once and forget. It should evolve. As your skills change, as you get new models, maybe find better tools, your system should adapt too. It's dynamic.
So it's an ongoing process. Which leads to our final thought for you today. Thinking beyond RC, beyond even your workbench. How could other areas of your life, your work, whatever it is, be improved by constantly asking that simple, powerful question? How can this be made even better?